The Sultan of a prosperous country sent for his court magicians to read him his future. They conjured a jinn to learn of his future and interpret his dreams. But the jinn would torment the Sultan in his sleep and give him terrible nightmares. The Sultan called forth a wise man, who instructed he jail the magicians who were the cause of his vivid dreams. Instead, the Sultan jailed the wise man and sought the magicians for further understanding. I dreamt of a large tower reaching to the heavens. He told them. I climbed a ladder above the clouds and made my kingdom in the sky. Then lightning struck the tower when the bells heralded the 3rd hour of the night. A mountain spewed forth fire and smoke and there was a great earthquake. A winged serpent with 7 heads came forth from the mountain and lit fire to the tower. It stood upon the tower in flames and became a tower of stone reaching even higher in glory upon the ruins of my tower. The magicians were unable to interpret the dream and the wise man was called to give an explanation. The wise man refused to interpret the dream unless the Sultan promised he would not be harmed if he was unhappy with the interpretation and that he would be released if his interpretation proved to be correct. This is the meaning of your dream, he spoke. Your kingdom will soon be torn in two by an army of 7 great nations. Your pride will be your downfall. The enemy will attack suddenly in the middle of the night and the battle will last 3 days. Upon sunrise the enemy will make itself your ruler and will plunder your treasures and gold and upon your ruins build their tower. And one of the court magicians mocked him, this man does not know the source of our power and his God is as mute and blind as the idols we worship. And he took some sand and threw it into the eyes of the wise man. The wise man wept and was blinded. But he said, O foul spirit that leads these magicians to folly. You give them gain but not wisdom. Strength but not power. Knowledge but no understanding. I bind you by the authority of God. The Lord rebuke you. And the jinn cowered and lost his strength and an angel nearby saw him and trapped him inside a clay jar. The Sultan was impressed by the power of the wise man and he asked him, by what authority do you cast off devils and make them to cower before you? And the other magician spoke first saying, we know who this man worships. It is the God of the Israelites. The God who parted the Red Sea and swallowed the Egyptians. The God who led them by a cloud of smoke by day and a pillar of fire by night. He is the God that brought the plagues upon Egypt. We fear this God more than our own gods for we are powerless before him. And the Sultan was displeased by the court magicians and ordered them be seized and put in the dungeon. But the wise man asked for clemency for them because they acknowledged the name of God. And the Sultan asked, what then shall I do to avoid the great nations to overtake my country? And the wise man said, take care of the widow and the orphan, watch after the oppressed, welcome the stranger, be generous unto your neighbor, love your neighbor, honor the Lord with your thoughts and actions, mete out justice and truth and it will be well with you. And for 3 years the Sultan rationed food and stored grains and dried fruit. For 3 years every smith would forge swords and armor and every carpenter would fashion bows and arrows. When the enemy arrived they were prepared and they fought and won the war. The wise man became the right hand of the Sultan and the country grew abundantly in size, wealth, power and administering justice.